Hey everyone again. So today the topic is going to be talking about a snippet of relationships and how we can not necessarily find our soulmate. It's more about finding someone that you can just be with and grow. And what I've really discovered is that my previous relationships, they are basically learning experiences, and what you take from your relationships of the past should be a navigation for you in the present moment and possibly into the future. And what I've discovered with being in relationships are is basically a lot about myself. And being alone has really offered a lot of space and clarity and time to heal and really open up and understand myself. And as much as people do help you and propel you, they could also stunt you. One recommendation, as far as if you're getting out of a breakup or you feel like you lost the love of your life, is just to take this time and grieve and take this moment to really understand that this is essentially happening for the betterment, and it's for a reason. In a way, I don't think that things are in place for a reason, but the things that we do really essentially help us grow, and this is all true with our goals and even with our friendships and relationships. And the space that I've had alone has really developed me into someone that I've always been really striving to get to, and it's only going to get better the more that we allow ourselves to change and the more that we want to grow as individuals. And this life is one big learning process, and it is magnificent if we let it and if we want that to be a part of our lives. So the biggest thing with relationships that I'm finding is that once you can find someone that you have a great deal of similarities with, it is really the partner that you essentially are going to attract. And the idea that opposites attract, it's appealing to us in our youth, or when we're barely getting into relationships, because it challenges a different part of ourselves. We really don't think of how it's going to affect us in a relationship, but because we are so emotionally invested, we refuse to see the differences in the other person, and everything just looks like wonderful and magnificent. But when we can really get in touch with our innermost wants and become more aware of who we are, we can really attract those like-minded people. And the individual that complements you is the most important. And you have relationships that are restricting. There's some sort of like invisible wall or an invisible force or energy that really doesn't allow you to grow. You are in the middle of some sort of stagnation or even arguments or bickering and insecurities that are all intertwined in this relationship. And there is not really time for growth. There's just room for stagnation and actually building downward instead of growing with the person. And this is where when we get into relationships, this is a sign that we need to work on ourselves, and we need to be more aware of who we attract into our lives. It's makes more sense that you have an individual that you really see eye to eye with, but even though you have some differences, you are accepting of it, but down to the core, you have these same values and beliefs. And when you really have that kind of a partner, you are able to understand each other, communicate effectively, and grow together, but also separately. And this is the beauty of having a partner that is mindful of your needs as well. And this is just what I've discovered along my journey with relationships. These realizations just made me understand more of who I am and what I'd like out of a partner. And it's not necessarily this checklist or play by play. It's more about how the person makes you feel when you're with them. It's so easy to get wrapped up in what the other person can offer you as far as materialistic things, because coming from a woman's standpoint, if we don't necessarily come from a motivational or independent background. This is true for men too, but mostly women because of the genders that we believe hold true in our society. But if women are looking for someone to take care of them and they want love, it is possible, but it's really difficult to have the whole package. We have to really understand that whoever we date is going to be flawed in some way, and we have to accept that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if we don't have the same energies and the same understandings, and this person doesn't make me feel good overall, that doesn't mean that we have to make exceptions for the people that's not making us feel good. So relationships have always been a fascination for me. How two people on completely different walks of life and cultures can come together and learn to compromise and just be. True love in its deepest form is just, it's being free and letting your partner experience life the way that they should, and not putting restrictions on their behaviors or how they feel about things. And when we do put those restrictions, it just distills insecurities in each other and fears. And each relationship has restrictions and their own way of functioning in the relationship. For example, one relationship may think it's okay to have promiscuous sex. And that's their boundaries. Another one will be monogamous but have the freedom to go out. I mean, it all depends on the dynamics of your relationship, and these boundaries, of course, need to be set when you first become serious. And if there are any red flags in that, I suggest that you get as much clarity as possible, and really do your best to get all the answers that you need before you actually invest in the other individual, because we are human and we will be let down. And we also have to ask ourselves why we are attracting these kind of people, because it somehow fulfills something within us. As whole as we may be and as awakened as we may be, they do something for us and they add some sort of value to our life. And as dysfunctional or as healthy as they are, they add something to us, whether that's dysfunctional and feeding into the insecurities, or healthy and feeding into the growing parts of you. And we all have these in us, insecurities and growth, and however our partner just decides to be is what it's gonna bring out in us. And it's hard to really say that we can be resilient without having a partner next to us. We can be resilient in ourselves and be whole, but our partner, our significant other, is definitely going to influence a great deal of how we feel and think, because we really, if we admire them and we value them and we really care and love them, then we are really just going to value what they have to say and value their feelings and their inputs as well. And we would hope that our partners come from a very unselfish background. And even though that's hard, it is possible to find that in a partner. And the non-restricting kind is really what I desire, and not trying to necessarily fit into a niche or a mold of what we think is great to have in a partner, or what we think we want in a partner. We just really have to be mindful of our partner's comments, and we really have to voice our opinions and our thoughts when we are in a relationship, and challenge their way of thinking as well. If your partner is able to grow and they actually want to grow, then challenging them or making them see a different perspective is really going to help them grow too, and it's going to develop the relationship as a whole, and you're just going to grow together. And that's my 2 cents about this small snippet, this tiny aspect of being in a relationship. But I think it's the overall big picture of how essentially I feel when I need to be in a partner, and it may not resonate with everyone. If you really look at the bigger picture and being in a relationship, what does the partner add to your life? If those are the small things that he does or she does for you, I would really like to know your feelings behind that and what those things are. So thanks for listening again, and happy Monday to everyone. It is Monday, all right? And comments and feedback are much appreciated. You know I love hearing all your input. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.